Hey everybody, before I start this video, I wanted to point out a quick update while I was editing, just to give context to the whole thing. I did find her link to her Twitch, and I want to point out when we click on this link, we do get a notification that the channel is unavailable due to Twitch community guidelines. So, ironically, in the context of the whole video, I wanted to let you know that her channel and her content was, I guess, at least banned because I assume hate speech, or because she was, well, you'll see in the video, but essentially just sexist and ultimately very hateful remarks. So, yep, have fun and enjoy the video. See you next time. Hello everybody, I'm Elworthy, and today I wanted to talk about a video that's kind of been blowing up the internet recently. It's about this person, Jay Hannah, who apparently is just upsetting a whole bunch of people, specifically gamers and men as a whole. So as a fellow man, I wanted to go ahead and just take a look at it and see how much we should be upset by this or not, because obviously people have a right to say whatever they feel like. So, and personally, most opinions of people don't really affect me personally, but I wanted to hear this out and see why this specific video was blowing up, because we've had all kinds of people talk about, how men are bad and stuff in society. That's a pretty common trope that we hear often. So I just want to see what this particular video has that's specifically upsetting people. Just kind of do some investigative journalism at this point.
Wouldn't last 10 minutes in a COD lobby is not, nor has it ever been, a valid excuse for men to act like pieces of human garbage in gaming.
Yeah, no, obviously. I don't think anyone was debating that. Obviously, people should be treating each other nicely. Now, I have very, very few experiences of interacting with women in video games, because I tend to mostly play single player games, and also because when I do play multiplayer games, I'm playing with my friends. So just truthfully, I just don't have a lot of experience, so I don't also witness very much toxicity in general, and everyone who I've played with has been pretty nice. But then again, I don't even remember the last time I had a single woman in any of my games that I've played. So obviously I'm a little biased because I just have no experience with this. But I do have some, I think, thoughts, because I have had women in other games before, back when I was younger. But certainly recently, I've noticed there's just been less women in general playing games. And I wonder if part of what she's going to talk about here is part of why that is.
I shouldn't have to play a game where all I say is hi and the whole game is thrown and I'm in hell for the next 40 minutes because men are being emotional about it.
Yep. I mean, that's fair. I don't think that anyone should be doing bad on a game just because of someone's gender. I mean, I remember back in the day, people, if you were a squeaker, and I think even nowadays still, I don't know if you guys remember, but when you were a kid who hadn't hit puberty yet and your voice was super high pitched, but you're still a dude, we'd call you squeakers. That's just what it was. I got called a squeaker. That was just kind of the name back then, or at least that's what I kind of grew up experiencing in terms of what I could think of as the most relatable to this, I suppose. But even then, to be honest, I would just kind of mute them if they were being rude, or if they were being really bad, I would hit the report button, right? So I'm kind of, on the fence as to what the appropriate action for her would be if she isn't able to find the mute button working. I don't know. I feel like, if someone's being harassment to you online, obviously you can report them. That's great. But at the same time, I think we should take accountability for ourselves and not allow ourselves to be treated ways that we don't like,
That is not normal, and that's not how the old COD days were, because...
What? Okay, I'll admit, I was pretty young, child, in the quote-unquote old COD days, so I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I've seen old footage, from old lobbies and stuff, and people were horrible. I mean, but that's kind of just how men act to each other, Even rarer is women coming into those spaces, and of course the men were being pieces of shit because that's just how they were. But COD lobbies are notorious for people who are kind of degenerates and kind of jerks who don't care. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not surprised, I guess.
As I promise you, as a man, you have never had somebody throw on the basis of your gender.
Yeah, but they throw on other things. I mean, like I said, how I said with a squeaker, for example, before I was 13. Oh yeah, no, people would hear me talk to them and they'd be like, "Ugh, get out of here," and and then they'd be trash, or maybe back, actually before I got my speech therapy done, I used to have this horrible lisp, and you guys might even be able to hear it in some of my early videos. I had this horrible lisp, and when I would talk in games, yeah, people would make fun of my lisp, and they would, say mean, awful things. And you know what? I just muted them, and I just moved on. Do you know how many gamers there are in like a single game? Like, it's pretty unlikely that you'll ever speak to those people ever again. I don't know. I think there's just very easy ways to avoid it. People are going to be how they are. And yeah, you can report them too. Again, like I said, if you want to take an action, definitely follow the proper channels and report it. Like, I don't know what talking about it online is going to do to change anything, right? I mean, is she going to call out specific people who did this to her? I don't know. I feel like whatever these people said to her, we should definitely be mindful that this is a very small portion of the gaming community as far as I know. And so taking a single incident and blowing it up to generalize it with everybody seems like a really bad idea, at least to me.
That doesn't happen. You can say it happens. You're lying. I'm sorry.
I don't think you should call people liars, especially when you don't know what their lives are. When you tell, like, she's here trying to say that she's been a victim of someone treating her poorly, but then she's saying that if other people come out and express how they've been treated poorly, that they're lying. I think that's a really bad take, and I think that you shouldn't be just presuming that your suffering is somehow any more valid than anyone else's. That's just kind of screwed up.
I don't know why that's such a common thing in the comments of my videos. You guys want to be oppressed so bad that you'll look at a man calling me telling me he's going to tell me to get back in the kitchen and say it's not a woman thing, and say that happens to you too. It doesn't. Okay,
it probably doesn't happen based on gender, but again, like I've said before, men are jerks. They like it, but that's kind of the male kind of way we do things, like they're mean for all kinds of reasons. Shoot, they could be mean because of money. They could be mean because of again, like how your voice sounds. It's mainly just how your voice sounds. Like, shoot, if you come here and into a lobby and people find out that I don't know what's a good one. Oh, yeah, like if you have like a Muslim accent, they might make like Al Qaeda jokes. If they find out that you're, I don't know, like Mexican, they might ask what it's like over the border. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna say shit that's fucked up, and that's that's not good, obviously. But it's not like it's solely like they're going after you in particular because of some special reason. Like, guys will find any excuse to make fun of each other because that's kind of how guys bond. That's kind of how like dudes just interact with each other. And like, it took a while for me to understand it too, because I used to be the one who was kind of like messed around with and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think that once you find your group of friends, like you talk about with strangers, so we got to keep this in mind. This is with strangers, right? When it's with my friends, like, my friends don't say rude shit to me. They're really respectful. Like, that's why I just tend to play with my friends, because obviously if you play with strangers, and keep in mind, most gamers who are guys don't have a lot of friends and typically are bad at social interactions, and when they feel uncomfortable and insecure, yeah, they might lash out with insults, trying to make it a joke, trying to have fun, but then not being mature enough to understand what they're doing is wrong sometimes. I don't know. I just think that, like, yeah, obviously it's not good, and anyone who is doing this kind of bad behavior should be reported in whatever game you're finding. But I don't think we should be going after men as a whole, because I think that for most times in male spaces, men mess with each other as a way to bond, as a way to get closer. At least that's my experience.
There's a reason that historically male-dominated spaces are known for being toxic and unsafe.
Are you implying it's toxic and unsafe for women? Because that's the implication that I got, and if that is what your point is, then I would just say that it's a male space, right? Obviously, a space for males would not be a space that females would want to be a part of, right? Like, if I, as a guy, go into like a hair salon, for example, and it's if I'm the only guy there and they're all talking about stuff that wouldn't be very friendly to me as a guy, like, then obviously that's not my space, you know what I mean? But I would know that going in, right? So if you're going to whether you like it or not, gaming has always been a male-dominated space, and I guess I'm just not surprised that maybe you wouldn't enjoy being in a male space. But again, that's why we have the mute button, right? That's why we have our own friends that we could find and play games with. So how frequently is this happening to you? I don't know. I guess perhaps I'm out of touch with the context of this, because Obviously, I would assume this kind of reaction would only be sparked by someone saying bad things, which sucks. And again, I hope you reported them because they shouldn't be doing that. That's super not okay. But at the same time, are you why are you going after everyone? I would say the vast majority of people are not like this, and I think that especially with social media, we tend to blow up, statistics. Like if 1% of guys are doing this, then do we really need to include all the other 99% as part of the problem? I don't know. I just think it's not good the way that she's generalizing things. I think she should be calling out the specific people who are actually making these hateful comments to her and make sure that they are being punished properly. You know what I mean? I think that's what the best thing to do is in this scenario, if these people really did say these things that are so horrible, right?
That goes for gaming, that goes for sports. Any male dominated space is a bad one.
No. Why the hell would you think that? What are we talking about here? Obviously, if it's a male dominated space, then that's just how it is. Like, no one's like preventing women from playing games. No one's preventing women from playing sports. In fact, we even have women's sports, like the WNBA. Like, there are places for women in sports, and there's places for women in gaming. They can do it. No one's stopping them. It's not the gaming space's fault or the sport community's fault that men just happen to be the dominant group of people who are interested in those activities. That's ridiculous. Don't act like being in a group of guys is bad just inherently. I mean, this seems kind of sexist at this point. Like, it's one thing if people are being rude to you in a game and they're making hateful comments, and I hope you report them. But it's another thing to just start blanketly assuming that men doing men activities is bad. What, are you going to say Dungeons and Dragons is bad because men were the primary people doing that until it recently blew up in popularity and then more women felt like joining the space? I mean, like, there's all kinds of things that men do that women don't have any interest in doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with men having a space for themselves. I mean, we should be, I would think, respectful of that as well. Like, again, like, I wouldn't want to go to a female dominated space, whatever that is, and just assume that it's bad just because there's no guys in it, right? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense.
That's not me being sexist.
It is.
That is me saying there is an inherent issue with the way that you guys have your locker room talk.
Again, not all guys are talking like this. Again, who are you? How old are these people that you're talking about? Again, maybe it's because I'm older now, but like my friends and I, we barely talk about women, actually, to be honest. Most of our discussions are about the games. I tend to mostly just talk to I tend to just bother my friends about the YouTube content that I'm making. That's kind of most of what I talk about with them and trying to get them to watch my videos and stuff. So how old are these people you're playing with? Like, I'll admit, if I were to go and I play Fortnite, for example, you can find mostly children, and they're going to be talking like fucking idiots. And yeah, they might say some horrible shit, but that's kind of how kids are, right? If you're going to, I guess she plays Valorant, apparently, so I guess if you're playing Valorant and maybe more like teens and like, like, I don't know. I think it's partly because I'm older, and I'll admit if I'm out of touch, I'm out of touch. But I think, at least for the games I play, at least, for people in the community that I've interacted with in those games, even like Helldivers too, right? That's the new big thing that's blowing up. Everyone I've talked to has not been talking about women. We don't talk about women that much. It's not really that interesting of a subject. It's not that exciting. Obviously, maybe if somebody is single, maybe they might be asking for advice, possibly, is kind of the most thing I can think of. Because also, here's another thing about male-dominated spaces, that we don't want to embarrass ourselves in front of other guys, so we wouldn't want to talk about an area that we're not good at. So if we're having trouble talking to women, most guys, I bet, are actually going to feel uncomfortable talking about women with other guys, because then, if they are worried about guys making fun of them for not being with a woman, sure, some guys are like that. Some guys will make fun of you for doing that, and that sucks. And those kind of people should be taken seriously and, shouldn't be allowed to be in our communities, right? But again, saying that like all guys and all guy spaces are like, do you think we sit around all day and just talk about how much we hate women? Like, that's ridiculous. This is such a horrible assumption. And I think it is sexist because she's specifically going after only men space. I don't know. I think it's sexist.
Talk that makes everybody else feel unsafe. I don't know how you could possibly find it fun to make other people feel unsafe. No woman is asking men to make gaming a safe space.
Well, that's what you are asking, though. You know what I mean? Like, she is asking us to make it a quote unquote safe space, but I don't know what you mean by safe space exactly. That's a pretty poor. I've never liked the word safe space because I think it's pretty poorly defined as a whole. So you guys are welcome to comment what you guys think a safe space is, but personally, I don't think there is such a thing as a safe space. I think that, well, maybe it's also because I'm from America, but I personally believe that everyone should be able to say what they want to say. If they say something that's hateful or rude, we should report it and call them out. But like, I don't know. I think everyone should be allowed to say whatever they want. That's just a me thing, though, because I just like freedom of speech, I guess.
The sunshine and rainbows and everything, but could you please be normal? Because I want to be able to enjoy playing the game without my life being threatened, without my body being...
Again, have you reported these people? Like, I just feel like there's some steps here we could be taking that could be fixing this. I mean, how frequently is this happening to you? Like, what are you saying possibly to antagonize them as well? Because most guys, at least as far as I've experienced, like, as far as I know, most guys are not going to go out of their way to just blatantly, be rude. And again, also, how old are these guys you're talking to? Are these guys, stupid fucking children who don't know any better, or are these like actual proper adults, who need to be punished more severely? Like, what is going on? Like, I just need more context. I feel like she's just she's just giving a blanket statement to everything. And like, your body being threatened, like, are they threatening to come to your house and stuff? Like, I don't know. This seems like there's a clearly deep-seated issue going on with people attacking her, and I don't know. I feel like we should be trying to help, catch whoever's doing these things, And if this is something where, like, every single time you go in a lobby this is happening, then maybe the game you're playing is filled with people who have created a community that is not friendly to you, and that sucks. And then that's a more systemic issue with the actual game itself. But again, this is probably for a single game, I'm assuming, because again, she's a Valorant player. I would say there's other games too. If this is such a big issue that reporting people hasn't worked, that you're calling people out like while it's happening isn't working. Like like at school, we're always trained, for like, because I was learning to be a teacher. One thing that they teach us, especially when you're like really little, is that like, look, if there's a group of bullies and they're being mean to you, just like avoid them, like go away from them. Again, that's why we have the mute button. That's why we have the report button. And that's why you don't have to play with them. If they're being that bad, just go queue for another game or something. Like, I don't know. I just think there's other options than just coming on here onto Twitter and just like spewing out how much, how bad all men are, right? I don't know. That's why I try my best to never make generalizations about people in general, because it's always an exception. And I think it's important to be very careful about how you approach these kind of topics.
Threatened because I'm existing as a woman, and men are the ones making it unsafe. And I do not care if you feel targeted by me saying men, or if you feel attacked by me saying men. You are part of the problem. If you feel attacked by that, you're part of the problem.
Well, I don't know why I'd feel attacked. She doesn't know who I am, but I think it is important to note that, well, frankly, why would anyone feel attacked by this? And also, if someone does feel attacked, they are completely valid in feeling that way, There's nothing wrong with that. If they feel that way, they are entitled to their own feelings and their own opinions. But someone feeling a certain way doesn't immediately make them part of a problem. Like, if there's a guy out there who, including myself, who has never done this, but then because you're being generalistic and you're just assuming all men are like this and making it worse, then obviously someone might feel attacked. I mean, I don't, because I don't personally care, because it's just not something I'm worried about. But yeah, I mean, of course people might feel attacked. I mean, I'm sure that's why this video is even blowing up in the first place, right? Is because people have been feeling attacked or whatever, It just seems, that's how it seems to me, at least. Anyway,
if you say just mute them, you're part of the problem. If you sit there and let them say that to me and you don't intervene, you are part of the problem.
Well, yeah, if you see someone calling it out, and she's right. I mean, look, no one deserves to be treated like this. Like, if like she's in a situation where like people are being rude to her and there's guys who are not stepping in, yeah, I think we do kind of have a small responsibility to help out. But you also do have the right to say nothing. I mean, it's kind of what everyone feels comfortable with. Not everyone is interested in getting into a online heated conflict. So I think we should be careful about assuming that someone who is like a bystander, like, is somehow responsible for this. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of, nuance to this, and I think we shouldn't be thinking so black and white. Like, if I'm in a lobby with like 10, 12 other people, right, and one person is going off on the mic going crazy, truthfully, I just mute them and move on. Like, that's just my thing. Like, I don't bother with it because I don't want to engage, because I want to just enjoy my game and not have to worry about it. And, you know, typically when you mute someone and you can't hear them, their opinions mean nothing, because that's how that works. So I'm just saying, I think that there are some solutions we could be taking, you know, so that way we can allow everything to stay calm and chill, you know?
Because I have a lot of male friends, normal male friends, who don't say slurs and don't threaten people and just play.
There we go.
Like
okay,
normal.
You've just proved my point.
I understand it. It's not all men.
Great. Okay. Great. So you've just proved my point. Okay, so you have friends. Go play with your friends. Jesus. I mean, if this is such a big issue for you, why aren't you playing with your friends? Why would you go to random lobbies? It's like you're trying to stir this up for no reason. Okay, this is something that, you know, I think we need to be careful about, is the fact that you can't come here on the internet and say men are the problem, but you say you have a lot of male friends, we'll just play with them. And if they're not online, then play a game by yourself. Like, I have a lot of games that I'd love to play with my friends, but, you know, I don't really get to anymore. Their lives just don't match up with my life usually, and, you know, it can be lonely at times, but at the very least, you know, I do my best to make sure that when I do have a chance to play with them, I take advantage of it. And I don't know, like, shoot, how much is a lot? Like, this is the problem. I don't know who this person is, so I'm trying to be as objective and like reasonable as I can. But like, you can't just say that you're having trouble with playing with strangers and then also say that you have male friends to play games with. It's like, then just play with them. Why are you if you know that you don't enjoy playing online with strangers, don't play online with strangers. It's that simple. It's completely that simple. I don't know. Am I missing something? Feel free to leave comments below. Obviously, I'm not trying to make anything weird or controversial, but like, this seems like an easy solution, right? I mean, maybe that's just me, but I feel like you can just not interact with the degenerates of the gaming community.
But if you are not one of the men doing this, it is entirely on you to help stop the men who are.
No.
You don't understand.
No, it's not. Refer to previous section.
That, and you don't understand power imbalances and gender hierarchy. It's not my place to teach you. I'm not your mother. I'm not your teacher. Close the game for 5 minutes and educate yourself. But stop making this a bad experience for everybody else who's just trying to play the game.
Okay. Again, now I'm really confused. Now she's saying that she doesn't want to explain it to us, but then she also wants us to figure it out. What do you want? What do you want from people, okay? You can't come here, tell people what you want, and then say you're not going to help them figure it out. Like, what if some guy watched this and he's like, oh man, maybe I am part of the problem. Can you help me get better? And she's like, it's not my job to teach you. What the fuck? What's going on? What are you doing? Oh my goodness. I don't know. And there was a follow-up clip that I thought was important to talk about here. This was a bit of a quicker one. I'm just going to play the whole thing in entirety, and then we'll just discuss it real quick.
No, it's over, Ina. It's over. Like, if I were to have a boy, we better pray to God that he's gay. We better start indoctrinating him day one. We have to either make him trans or make him gay. We are not having a cisgender straight son.
Okay. I'm not going to talk too much about this because this is pretty based on the previous video that came out first, and then this came out, I guess. I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, I feel like she really just doesn't like guys as a whole. Like, I don't know how like, I don't know what happened in her personal life. Like, I don't know if she had like a messed up family or messed up upbringing, or like the men in her life have all been really abusive to her or something, or, you know, just sexually repugnant, or if they've she's been like the victim of like hate crimes. Like, I don't know. All right, I'm not here to make judgments, right? But I think that for me, at least, when I have kids, I'm just gonna make them feel comfortable being whoever they are. I'm not gonna force someone to be attracted to someone else just because of my own insecurities, right? I'm just going to allow my eventual future children to just enjoy being themselves. And I want to make a place where they feel comfortable talking to me. And I want to make sure that, you know, they're able to feel like they can come to me with any problems, that whoever they're attracted to, that they feel like they can talk to me about it, so I can help them work through it and make sure that they're able to enjoy their life to the best of their ability. I'm not gonna like go to my kid and be like, oh, you have to do this. Like, that's ridiculous, especially with who they're attracted to, because whether they figure it out, like, you're either born a certain way or you're not, and you know what, people can also change preferences as well. Life is really complicated and really confusing, and children especially don't all. I mean, shoot, I didn't even think about being attracted to girls until I got to middle school. I mean, like, how early are you going to indoctrinate these people? Like, this is really concerning. Like, I could never imagine doing this to a child, especially. Like, I take this, I'll admit this, I do take a little more personally, because I don't think it's right for anyone to try and force a child to feel a certain way that they're not feeling. Like, it's the same thing with like how religious organizations would try and convert people into being straight, right? Like, that's not okay. I don't think you should in the same light, I don't think we should try and force a straight kid to be gay. Like, that's not okay, no matter what. So I don't know what's wrong with this person. I might do a follow-up video if more garbage comes out, but again, I'm going to take my own advice and probably just ignore it after all this. Like, again, I don't watch this person. I don't know who this person is. But this, XJ Hannah person seems to really just have, I think, kind of backwards and confused opinions on just men as a whole. And this, in context with the other clip, to me at least, makes me think that she just doesn't like guys. I mean, I hate to say it, but my overall takeaway is that I think she's being kind of sexist. She isn't discussed how she's tried to remove herself from a bad situation. She keeps putting herself into a bad situation, I guess. Because again, like I said, she's a Valorant player, and I don't know how frequently she's having toxic interactions, but I don't know. I feel like, you wouldn't want, like, if someone's being abused, you wouldn't want them to go back to the abuser, right? Am I crazy? I don't know. Leave your comments down below if you've enjoyed. Obviously, I'm happy to discuss it with you more in the comments if you want. But yeah, thank you all for watching. As always, I'm El Worfy, and I'll see you guys next time.